I am Dr.P. Umamaheswari, Head and Associate Professor of Botany, Sri Sharda College for Women. In this video, we are going to see the introduction of plant taxonomy and its taxonomic keys. This video deals with the definition of the systematics and taxonomy, aim of the taxonomy, objectives of taxonomy, importance of taxonomy, taxonomic hierarchy, identification, taxonomic keys and its types, and how to construct the keys and how to use the keys for proper usage. Systematics can be defined as a term comprising identification of an individual organism, assigning a proper rank to the same and giving it a name. However, taxonomy and systematics are considered by many to denote the same thing, and the terms are treated as synonyms. So, systematics is used for the identification of individual organisms, and plant taxonomy is the science that deals with the finding, identifying, describing, classifying and naming of plants. How these two terms vary from each other. So first one, taxonomy specially refers to the methods and principles of classification that includes naming and description. Whereas systematics is used in the broader sense, which include also taxonomy, dealing with nomenclature, description, identification and classification. Then studies of evolutionary process such as hybridization, source of variability, degree of variation in population, reproductive isolation and origin of species, etc. Then studies of phylogeny, that is the evolutionary relationships between group. Systematics, in other words, we use to understand the evolutionary history of life on the earth. So now we will see one by one. What are the aims of plant taxonomy? It aims to classify the plant kingdom and to identify the plants and to name a plant and fix its rank in a recognized system of classification. So what are the things in the classification? And why do we need classification? A wide range of plants occur in the universe. So each and every plant is having its own unique nature. So based on that, the classification has been made. The popular and natural classification is made by Bentham and Hooker, which is used very commonly for the identification purpose and the classification. Then identify the plants. And what is the need to identify the plants? Like unique features, each and every plant is having its own unique features. Based on that, the identification is also made to differentiate each other. Then importance of naming of plants. Each and every organisms in the universe is having its own scientific names. So to avoid confusions and to recognize the plants, the name is important for that. Then objectives of plant taxonomy. So it aims at fulfilling three main objectives. The foremost one is taxonomy aims at the classifying organisms into taxa. Each and every category is known as taxa on the basis of similarities in phenotype. That is based on the morphological characters. So what is morphological characters? The plant is having various parts. It is having two systems, that is underground part of the plant, that is root system, and the upper part is shoot system. So the shoot system consisting of stem, leaves, flowers and fruits. So it can be divided into vegetative portion and reproductive portion. So in that, so many characters. For example, if you take the leaf is variously shaped in different plants. Each and every plant is having its own unique shape as well as the venation, everything. So like that, each and every part For example, if you describe the leaves, it can be described as petiolate. That is, the stalk of the leaf is called as petiole. So if the leaf is having petiole, then it can be described as petiolate. If it is not having the petiole, it is called as sessile. Like that, each and every character of the plant is described in such a way based on the morphological characters. So the second objective of taxonomy is to assign each taxon to a name. So naming of a taxon is a very important feature. That process is called nomenclature. Assigning a name to an organism is necessary for identifying it without confusion throughout the scientific world. Therefore, nomenclature needs to be made following certain internationally accepted rules. So, to explain this second objective, already told, nomenclature, that is naming of a taxon, is very important to avoid confusion. It is because each and every zone or region is having its own local name for each plant. For a common example, we will take the groundnut in English is called in Tamil Nelakadalai. In some places, even in Tamil Nadu, it is called as Mallatai, like that. So, Nelakadalai, Verkadalai, Mallatai, like that. Same region, that is same state, it can be called as in various names. So, region wise it is having names, so it is called local name or vernacular name. But if it called with the scientific name, there is no confusion. So for that purpose, each and every plant should have its own scientific name. So that nomenclature is having two names, that is binomial nomenclature. One is generic name and another one is species name, that is specific epithet. So third objective is to serve as an instrument for identification of bacteria. That is one of microorganisms based on the molecular taxonomy. So here that taxonomy of plants is having basically the phenotypic characters. If unless need to identify or to bring close relatedness plants and go for the molecular taxonomy, or otherwise with the phenotypic characters, the plants, angiosperm plants can be very well classified. Whereas in this bacteria, microorganisms, it needs little more taxonomical variations, that is molecular taxonomy. So with that, homology of ribosomal RNA is another development which has revolutionized in bacterial taxonomy. Then we will move on to the importance of plant taxonomy. To arrange the taxa of plants into a more systematic manner, so that they can be better understood and could be used easily and more effectively. So after the naming and identification, each and every plant should be arranged in such a way based on the characters. Similar characters will be grouped into one family or genera or come under the order. So like that, for the arrangement of elements in one group, this is very much important. Then to arrange data or information knowledge about plants. Then it indicates the source and generic relationship, ancestry and origin of plants. Then to indicate the distribution and habitat of plants on earth and their benefits. Where it is growing, all the details should be given with that, where it is growing, where and all it is occurring. So everything will be given in the taxonomical point of view for the particular plants. Then move on to the taxonomic components. There are 4 components: classification, identification, nomenclature and description. So already we have told that plants are arranged into groups based on their similar characteristics and categorized into species, genus, family, order, like that. So next one is identification. Why the identification is needed? First of all, if the persons, those who are surveying the area, they have to collect almost all the plants from that particular area. Then after the collection of that plants, they have to identify the plants, each and every species they have to identify. So for that purpose, all the characters are to be written, that is noted. Based on that morphological characters, the identification should be made. Then nomenclature, already discussed the nomenclature, why the plant is needed, the name, scientific name. Then description, based on the entire plant, the description has to be made for the individual species, starting from the habitat, stem, leaf, inflorescence, flowers, whether it is male, and the calyx, corolla, and rhizoom, gynoecium, and fruit types. Each and every character has to be noted, and they should be technically described with the technical terms. For example, hypogynous flowers, that means the gynoecium is superior. Epigynous, the gynoecium is inferior based on the position of the gynoecium, as well as based on the fusion or freeness of the sepals and petals. It may be called as polysepalous, gamosepalous, or polypetalous and gamopetalous. Like that, each and every part of the plant body is having its own description. So it should be technically described. So these are the 4 taxonomical components. Then taxonomical hierarchy. This was first made by the Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1753. So here the basic fundamental unit of taxa is the species. So many species grouped under genus. So number of genus grouped under one single family, like that it moves on. Now under the single order, there are no number of families, like that class, division, and kingdom. So each category is having many number of individual species, many species under the genus, many genus under the family, many family under the order, many orders under the class, and many classes under the division. And the larger one is kingdom, that is plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Then we'll move on to the identification part, that is identification. That is determination of unknown plant species. So already I told, why the persons, those who are undertaking the flora work. For example, flora of Yercaud, or flora of Salem district, or flora of Kolli Hills, or flora of Coimbatore, or flora of Nilgiri Hills. So like that, if the person is undergoing a flora work, then that person has to collect the plants in that particular area. Almost all plants in that particular area. Many of the plants, even 90% of the plants are already named, already stocked in the herbarium, or already noted with the name. So in this collection, some plants are without naming, that is unknown plants may be collected by that particular person. So in such case, that plant has to be identified with the flora's herbarium and the literature available already. So in this case, the determination of taxon based on overall similarities and dissimilarities with the closely related taxa, whether it has to be related with the particular genus or a particular species. So the comparison of the characters we can easily identify. So with that, authenticated herbarium specimens occur in the herbaria, various herbaria. Then that is called direct method. With the already existing herbaria specimen, this collected specimen can be compared and visually compared with that specimen, and we can identify whether it is matching or not. Then indirect method is with the help of description and illustrations already existing, and from the flora literature, manuals, monograph, With that, we can identify the plants. And the next is the taxonomic keys. After the identification, after the writing the description of the plant, particular plant or whatever collections we have made during the visit, while writing the floras, the plants has to be segregated. So for that segregation, the taxonomic key is very much useful. So based on the taxonomic keys only, the plants can be easily classified, segregated from one genus to another genus. So within the genus species, like that, from the hierarchical rank to the lower one, the plant has to be categorized. So for that, the taxonomic keys are very much useful. So used for identification of plant or animal species. So helps in quick identification of unknown plant by matching the characters with the above set methods. Then defined as devices consisting of a series of contrasting or contradictory statements or propositions requiring the identifier to make comparisons and decisions based on the statements in the key as related to the material to be identified. Then, in the taxonomic keys, always a choice between two contradictory statements is provided. One can be accepted and the other can be rejected. So in that, a single pair of contradictory character is named as a couplet. And each statement in the couplet is termed as a lead. So by making the correct choice at each level, one can arrive at the name of the correct plant. Let us see how it can be done. How to use the keys. Proper usage of keys. 1. Appropriate keys to be selected from floras. Already existing floras with our characters. That means what we have written based on our specimens, that characters, that descriptions, based on the descriptions, we can match the plants with that manuals, handbook, monograph, revision, etc. Then introductory comments to be properly read first. And that couplet and the lead vocabularies has to be properly read. Then both leads should be read before making a choice. Then sometimes the first lead may seem to be correct, the second lead may be more appropriate. So we have to check which one is appropriate for that particular plant. Then cultivated plants usually not given in floras. So for these manuals treating such plants to be used. Then fourth one is the meaning of unknown terms should be checked using the glossaries. If we didn't know the meaning of that particular terms, then we have to refer the glossary. So based on that, the key can be proceed. When measurements are used such as the length of leaf, fruit, etc., that several materials for specimens to be measured. Not with the single specimen, the measurement cannot be done. With many specimens in this single collection, there may be 4 or 5 plants. So with all the plants, the measurement has to be checked, and based on that only the measurement should be given. Then no decision to be taken based on a single observation. Then results should be verified by reading a description, comparing the specimen with illustration or an authentic herbarium specimen. So how to construct the keys? Always use constant characters, not variables. For example, here I have given the seed shape of the seed. One plant is having round seeds, the another is having oblong seeds. So this is a constant character. Like that, the flower color is constant. Leaf shape is constant. So we have to take the constant character for the making of keys. Never use terms such as large and small. It may be variable. Instead of that, we have to give correct measurements based on more number of specimens. Examining the more number of specimens, we have to give the measurement instead of giving large and small. And available characters, the variable characters again, in some plants, the leaves will be pink or reddish in its color due to the summer nature, that is due to light more amount of light it is getting. In the other seasons it may be green. So that like type of characters will be given for the construction of keys. Then characters always available are to be used rather than seasonal characters. That what I have exactly explained. Always use positive terms like stipule is present, stipule present. Instead of using stipule is not present, instead of we can use stipule absent, or we can use the technical term stipulate or exstipulate, like that we can use. So example here, the seats round, seats oblong. So like that we can use the leads instead of round seats and oblong seats. The same word should be followed. As far as possible, both choices of a pair to be started with the same word. So like this, seats round, seats oblong, like this, stipule is present, stipule is absent. Like this we have to use the same word for the construction of keys. Then if possible, different pairs of choices should start with different words. That is flowers, white, red. Then next lead, couplet, sepals free, sepals used like that, and corolla, the length of the corolla can be used. So different pairs of choices should be used for the starting word. So what are the types of keys? Dichotomous keys and monocotomous keys. Dichotomous keys between two alternate couplet. Already we have seen like that the couplet should be alternate characters are called dichotomous keys. So then contrasting characters are chosen which divide the full set of species into smaller groups. Many number of species under the genus will be there. So to divide or to segregate, the contrasting characters can be used. Each time one single species is eliminated, the next species will narrow down and follow the same procedure. In the dichotomous keys, there are two types. One is indented key or yoked key, and another one is bracketed key or numbered key. And we will see one by one. Here we have given the space, and within that character we have finished off the segregation of these two species. Instead of this, here one by one we have to give, and we have to give number at the end. So it leads as we have to go to the second lead. So the flowers in shades of red, the plants which are having this character, then we have to go to the next key lead 2. Like that, the flowers in shades of rose pink, we have to go to the number 3. So this is called bracketed key or numbered key. With this number, we have to follow the leads. After that, if it is over, it has to be segregated with the species. So in this video, we have seen the introduction to taxonomy. What is taxonomy? Definition and aims, objectives, and classification, or for what purpose the classification is needed. We have touched little bit of nomenclature, and for the identification and classification, how to classify the plants based on the keys. Using keys, we have seen this video. Thank you for watching this.